police officer here in Springfield has now been charged with shooting an unarmed man. Good evening once again to you. I'm David Oliver.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jennifer Kilman. Officer Jason Shuck is accused of third-degree assault. Color 10's Linda Ong spoke with Greene County Prosecuting Attorney Dan Patterson about the charge. Linda.
Prosecutor Dan Patterson said the decision was reached after reviewing an investigation by the Springfield Police Department. He said the decision was not easy, but that the review is an important part of accountability to the public.
Having to reach this decision in this case obviously brings me no joy whatsoever, but it is my duty to do so.
After reviewing the investigation of the May officer-involved shooting of an unarmed man, Greene County Prosecuting Attorney Dan Patterson today reached a decision.
I believe it was a criminally negligent act, and that's why the charge is the misdemeanor assault in the third degree.
According to the case's probable cause statement, Springfield police officer Jason Shuck was on a foot pursuit of Eric Butts on May 9th at this neighborhood Walmart on Glenstone Avenue. When Butts refused to answer to Officer Shuck's request to stop, the officer pulled the trigger of his duty gun.
When reviewing the May 9th shooting, which was an unintentional shooting, the officer had intended, as you see in the probable cause statement, to use his taser when he shot Mr. Butts, was not justified under the law.
Patterson says the U.S. Supreme Court permits an officer to use deadly force if the fleeing felon is armed with a weapon of his own or poses a threat of death or serious physical injury to either the officer or other members of the public.
In this case, Mr. Butts was neither armed nor is there any evidence that he posed that sort of threat.
Butts' attorney Joshua Roberts says his client suffered serious physical injury and has had to undergo surgery as a result.
Filing charges against him is appropriate, and we do feel like that's going to require some accountability on the officer's part to deal with those charges.
He says in this case, equal justice was served.
When you engage in gross negligence and somebody gets hurt, there are consequences for that, whether you're a police officer or whether you're everyday ordinary citizen. And so I think that they're treating the officer just like they would treat anybody else, and I think that's appropriate and that's the right thing to do.
Now, Joshua Roberts said he and Eric Butts also are working with the city and police department on a pending civil claim. Shuck is currently on administrative leave. The charges could result in 1 day up to a year in the county jail and or a fine of up to $1,000. The Springfield Police Department is conducting its own investigation based on behavior and conduct, and the chief will take this into consideration before reaching a decision on Shuck's future.
All right, Linda Ong, thank you.